If you're busy, memorize the Quran like this. I was speaking to one of my students, and him and also someone else, they both asked that what is the way that we need to prioritize memorizing the Quran. So I gave them a formula which is based on many students that I have taught over the years studying and memorizing the Quran. The very simple, especially if you're an adult, if you're a busy adult, this is how I did it. This is how I advise all of my students, regardless if they're studying, if they're working, whatever they're doing, break your memorization into easy chunks of memorization. Now, what do I mean by that? Of course, that means taking the whole page of the Quran, for example, and then breaking that into chunks that you can learn. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already done that by breaking them into ayat for us, of course. So you can do ayah by ayah, and you can do chunk by chunk. But I'm talking about time. So the time that you take to memorize the Quran, break it up into 30-minute chunks. And what that means is that, let's say you come back from work or you come back from whatever you're doing in the day, and then you take your time to relax, get uncovered, and unwind. And when you know that you are completely relaxed and you've recovered, or that initial part of recovery that you happens from work, or that initial part of recovery that happens from when coming from outside, then when you're relaxed, you go in and you memorize the Quran for 30 minutes. That 30 minutes will be more productive than if you sit there when you're tired and you're thinking, I have to do this. No, do it at a time when you're initially relaxed and you have come into a stage where, okay, I'm now clear from the busyness that I had, and spend no more than 30 minutes. After that initial 30 minutes, you take at least a 10-minute break, and then at the very least spend another 15 minutes to 30 minutes reviewing what you learnt in that 30-minute period, the initial 30-minute period. So for example, if I learned, to make it easy, if I was learning Surah Al-Ikhlas for the first time, if I was learning this, let's say I sat down in the beginning and I said, okay, for 30 minutes I'm going to learn these 4 ayat. So you learn this for 30 minutes, you take a 10-minute break, and then you come back and you spend 15 minutes to 30 minutes reviewing just what you learnt. Now this is what I want you to do if you're a complete beginner. If you're a little bit more advanced, then you can go on and memorize some more. But if you're beginning, if you're less than sort of, maybe 2 or 3 juz, then this is what you need to do. Review what you learned in the first 30 minutes. For those of you who are a bit more studious, you can go on and learn and memorize more for another 30 minutes, take another 10-minute break thereafter, and then go back and review what you learned for that 30 minutes, then 30 minutes for that 1 hour. But this is how you should break up your time. And one of the other things that you need to do is that you need to ensure that you're tracking what you're doing. You need to track where you are, where you were last week, where you're going moving forward. And one of the best ways to do that is to write everything down. Now I have prepared, alhamdulillah, a hifz tracker. Hifz tracker that you can get from Amazon. Got 2 colors depending on what you like, whether it's the green or the blue. Both have the same content. And what that does is that it just gives you something where you can track what you're learning. So as you open, first is just a design, but that's irrelevant. You've got some virtues of the memorization of the Quran and some methods on how to memorize as well. I don't know whether you can see that. Methods of revising. Yes? Methods of memorizing. So this is all there so you know how to memorize the Quran, or you find the way which is good for you. I've got plenty of videos on memorization methods on the channel, so inshallah definitely seek them out. Go through the channel, see what is the best memorization method for you. Then you've got the surah names, which of course you have in the Quran. It's good to memorize the surah names as well. There's no point, well, there is a point of course to memorize, but you should at least know about the Quran too. But the main part is that you've got this weekly tracker. So each 2-page spread is a week. Each 2-page spread is a week. And in there you get to say, okay, how am I memorizing? What's the date today? What juz am I on? On the Monday, for example, what surah am I on? What have I memorized from ayah to what? And has it been completed? So you just go on and you memorize. And each one of these is 1 year's worth of tracking. So inshallah, if you buy this, then you know that for 1 year you've got a tracker available where you can use and inshallah motivate yourself and track, which is the main thing of the Quran. Spend those 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And if you want to make notes at the end, it's important because as you go through your memorization journey, what will happen is that you will learn things about memorizing. You will learn things what the best method is for you. You will learn what is it that motivates you. You will learn many things, and it's good to note these things down because then inshallah you can improve the way you memorize. This is what you do in the beginning, 30-minute chunks inshallah, and make sure if you want to head over to Amazon, you can go and get this inshallah. I'm just saying making sure that you write things down. You don't have to buy this. You don't have to get this. This is voluntary. It's not even necessary. It's good just to have something. It keeps you motivated, and you've just committed to something. You've got there, something there which reminds you too. But you just write things down, get committed, track what you're doing so you can improve over time inshallah.